Whether you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Molina Mike here, and we finally made it back to another podcast. It's been a little bit. We just got back from Dallas last week, I think it was, or a few days ago. I don't know. I've lost track of time. It's been a blur of last week, blur of the last 6 months, it feels like, man. I've been all over the place, but it's been great. I love everything we've been doing. This last week in Dallas was a bit of a challenge for the page and for me, and just because it was a different like kind of format than what we're used to doing. But all in all, we're pretty proud of everything, and we appreciate QTech for the support and getting us out there, and just sponsoring us for putting that on. And more importantly, just for the opportunity, like from a fan's perspective, which I am. I mean, it was just cool to be able to see what the guys do leading up to the Mosconi Cup, and as much as I feel like I'm on the know when it comes to certain things within the industry, I had no idea that they did all that, man, like none. So I really got a newfound respect for their work ethic, and really just explains why they are the champions that they are. But anyway, let me know in the chat if you guys can hear us all right and see me all right. My video quality is I'm not too in love with it. I got to mess with my settings a little bit. But we got a great show in store for you guys. Oscar Dominguez, fresh off of the Chris Reinhold match. It was a sweat, that's for sure. And we also going to talk about, of course, the Mosconi Cup, which starts tomorrow, which Oscar obviously has a lot of insight into that as well. So we're super pumped. All of our shows this week for the Mosconi Cup coverage are brought to you by Albert Trujillo and Fort Worth Billiards. So we appreciate him for the support. We're hopefully going to get some guests in store fresh out of London, courtesy of the Matchroom team, which always helps us out. And then I got a few little eyes and ears on the ground out there. So hopefully we'll be able to get some fun content for you all. But let's get the show started, man. I'm really excited, man. Obviously everybody knows, this is my man, this is my guy, this is one of my really good friends, Oscar Dominguez. Oscar, buddy, welcome back to the show.
Thank you for having me, buddy. What's up?
How are you feeling, man? How are you feeling? Let's what's up with you is what I want to know. What's up with you? How are you feeling after getting back home and after what was an exciting few days?
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't recovered. Honestly,
Yeah.
like yesterday I passed out. I got in late last night. Crashed out for a bit, but of course the girls were right there. And
this is the beauty of kids, because they don't care if
they don't
you
care.
just they don't care if you just won a big set with thousands of people watching. They don't. My girls come back home, they don't give a shit that I was out with Team USA before, or hanging out with two of my good friends out in Dallas and Lucas. They don't care about any of that. They're kids. They want dad. They
Yeah,
want
they
dad
want that.
around.
Yeah, that's all it
Yeah.
is. But it's
Yeah.
fun. I've been spending the last couple of days just collecting and allocating bets because I had to sell some of my action, and just it's been I've been on my phone a lot,
Right.
so
I can imagine.
there's a lot of transactions, a lot of small bets. In retrospect, I should have just taken bigger bets, but you know,
What are you gonna do?
I got my nose open. I just took everything. So
Let's start with that, because you did have your nose open. It was pretty wide open. I
it
know
was wide
in the
open.
in the middle you guys had 40,000, roughly 20 a man.
Right.
But you, and this wasn't just for show. Anytime, anywhere, anything, any decent amount within reason, you were welcoming all action.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you were there in Dallas. A guy just bet 5,000 with
Yep.
me, and then a day before the event, I bet 10,000 more, and then 2,500, and we were just going dead off like a rocket. Fortunately, it worked out. You look like a genius when you do that.
Yeah. But I mean,
It could have been really bad.
It could have been really bad.
It could have been really tough. So, and for me to come out and win like that, it just kind of, you know what I mean? It kind of felt real good
Right.
To show the ticker and fight.
But was it more of like, was okay, explain maybe the fans at home. So was it more of you really liked your side, or was it more of like just a little bit of pride? Because our people have been known to be a little
Hmm.
prideful at times. It's a
Absolutely.
cultural thing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And we're very much guilty of that cliche at times for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would say it's a combination of both. Um, I was a little prideful, like, I guess, because I felt like I've always been one of the top American players for many, many years. And, you know, I saw Chris grow up, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what's this kid doing? But man, he's improved so much. He really, uh, he really made me bring out the best of me. So, I mean, I really respect how well he composed himself and how well prepared he was. It was a tough game.
Did you maybe underestimate him,
Uh,
given what you thought about going into it versus what you saw on the table? And it's not. I'm not saying it to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, was that
yeah,
something that maybe that in
maybe
hindsight you can
after the
say?
first set, because I know he played bad the first set, and I
Right.
broke so bad, and I'm like, God, I broke terrible, and I still won by
Terrible. It's terrible.
terrible. I,
Yeah.
I my timing was off. I just felt so uncomfortable behind the ball. But anyways, and I worked so hard on it, and I felt like I had it dialed in. The way I was breaking at the end
No,
was the way I was breaking
look.
for
Let me tell
hours
y'all
and
guys
hours.
something, because I communicate with my guy over here quite a bit, right? So I'm hitting him up, I'm, pumping him up, giving him the go get him speech, but trying not to get on his last nerve and bother him either, because we all like our space, right? And so I text him, I think the day he's in Louisville, we just seen each other like a day or two before. And I said, I'm like, how are you feeling? How's everything going? And he sends me the picture of his layout, right? And it's like the post break layout, right? Cue balls, you know, right below the side pocket, right in the middle. One ball's dressed up, and I'm like, let's go. And then I turn on the first set, and that wasn't what happened, Oscar. That was not what I saw from what you showed me versus what I saw with these eyes. When
Right.
the
I mean,
cameras
I'd
were
be
on.
lying to you if I said I didn't feel the pressure. For the
Right.
first time in a very long time, I felt a lot of pressure, more than I've ever felt. Um, and I
Because of the
felt
bet or the game or a combination or.
lack of being in the grease for such a big
But
number.
that's
It's not
crazy
even.
though, Oscar. You're a well-seasoned gambler.
I know,
You've got a successful business. You know what I mean? Like,
I know. But the thing is, it's like when you put so much pressure on yourself, you prepare so much for this event, and
yeah,
you're like, okay, now I'm ready to beat anybody, and you start dogging it a little bit. You can't
a little bit.
recreate the pressure. You can
Right.
recreate practice. You can be the best practice player in the world. um, but once that heat is on, um, I faltered a little bit, and it was a little upsetting because I used to play $10,000 sets and then have a sandwich. You know what I mean? It was just a normal thing to play a 5, 10, 20, $30,000 set on a random Tuesday afternoon. It was
Right.
just normal. My new normal now is dad, and
It's
I'm like,
fair.
holy shit! Like, I got to sell a lot of beer to win $500 or $1,000. Like, I really got to work my ass off for this. So it's just, I guess, when I was younger, I think I had such a great disrespect for money. It really was just, it was so
Yeah,
whatever.
I get it.
And now that
Yeah.
I work hard and I work for a living, it's like, I give it a
And
little
not
bit
just
more.
that, but the reality is, it's not just you. It's not
Right.
you.
It's not just me.
When you're younger and you blow it and you're eating ramen, that's one thing, right? You dog
Yeah.
it and you got pressures, right? You got
Hmm.
families to support, and I mean, obviously, like I said, you're doing well in life, and God bless you for it. But it's different though. You got kids, you got a family, you
Yeah,
know what I
it's
mean? Like,
different.
it's a different.
And then also, you don't want to let down the people who go in with you too. You know what I mean? Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure there, and
And look, I mean, look, the last couple sets ain't been the best. You know what I
I
mean?
haven't
Like,
been.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
So,
been losing my ass off.
but it's great because you got people in your corner who believe in you, who believe in your eye, who believe in your radar gun, so to speak, right? And you
Hmm.
said, let's go, right? Unloaded on the rail,
Yeah.
and you win the first set despite the break. I felt like, but you found
Hmm.
you came back, showed a lot of heart because you were down. I think early in that match to like the first maybe like third of it, right? But then you ended up not just overcoming a deficit, but ended up winning. I think 30-22 ish. Is that right?
Hmm. 30,
Or
22.
30-22 day one. And then let's talk about day two for a minute, Oscar, because it was kind of a similar tale of the tape as far as how the match started, but the ebb and flow through the middle part of it kind of changed a little bit.
So what happened, I think, was Chris played about 30% better. All those balls that he missed in this first set wasn't happening in the second set, and I continue that bad breaking pattern. So,
and I thought Chris was breaking pretty decent. I thought he was popping the ball pretty good,
strong. So I think what happened was Chris had a consistent day one and day two for the most part, but he didn't miss as much, and he punished my scratches on the break, and then it just kept compounding, and then he built confidence, and he played unreal at the end. Towards the end, he played very strong. I felt like he hit one of his top gears, and then
he goes on to win that set, Oscar. And then what's going on upstairs? What's going on upstairs? Because you want to put him away, you want it to be done. You're ready to get.
I told myself I better not lose to this freaking kid. I was pretty tilted. And then I remember just like, I'm like, you know what? I've played so many great players before. I've played great pool. Like it's no big deal. It's another set. Whether I win 2-0 or 2-1, it's the same thing. So I just I ordered some food. I had a Starbucks sandwich the whole day, and it was 11 p.m. I hadn't eaten anything.
Everybody that Oscar, goes to Starbucks probably like 4 times a day.
No, twice a day. Don't push it. Don't push it.
Let me get Desi out here. She'll tell the truth.
No. Don't get Desi. Don't get Desi. She's good. We'll leave her downstairs with the kids. She's good.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
And then I ordered some food, and I had a Red Bull just to perk me up. And I'll tell you what, man, they gave me some wings.
Well, y'all finished kind of late in that second set, and I know,
like
Kyle had mentioned, listen, I'd more than accommodate these guys if they're willing. And from the beginning, the thing was we're starting early on day two in case there's a third set. If the third set came, they're going to play it on that day. Now, when we're listening to the match, all of us viewers at home, all of us sweaters, Kyle made no mistake about it. He said, if they're willing to come tomorrow, I'll gladly accommodate them, whatever they want to do, right? They're more than willing to come and play. And then what was your thought after losing that second set? How did that conversation go? Or was there a conversation?
Yeah, there was. So, obviously, he had the momentum. That's obvious. I say, look, Chris, I know it's not a move, but the offer's there. If you want to play tomorrow, you're more than welcome to. I made that clear. I said, it's not a move. I'm not trying to force you to do anything, but I just want to eat something. Give me 30 to 45 minutes, and we can flip the coin if you want to play. Or we can play tomorrow. It's totally your choice. I agreed to 2 days, and I'm going to keep my word.
I'm just putting myself in his position here, Oscar, right? If I'm in my early 20s, and we're not in our early 20s, you and I.
No, we're not.
and so staying up late just isn't like it was, 10 years ago, right? So if you're coming to me and asking me, hey, do you want to play tomorrow? I might say I'm good.
Right. I think he made the right decision. I really do. Because, he knows I got kids and we wake up early.
And he had momentum.
He had momentum, and he's playing good. And he saw me playing bad and suffering.
Getting up early is on a whole different level for you. You get up, early.
6 a.m. usually is my wake up time. 5:45.
He's not exaggerating either, y'all. Trust me. I've been at Casa de Dominguez many a times. He is far from exaggerating. That's that's any day that ends in a Y.
Yeah, it's every day. It's just the way it is, and it's no excuses. But that's why I kind of don't like playing at home. I don't like playing at hard times. Because
explain that to me. Because the average fan at home is going to hear this and say, it's ridiculous. It's your homeroom, Oscar. Everybody wants to play at home. Everybody wants that home court advantage. It's your everyday
advantage, but it's not home court advantage. Because when you don't get any sleep the night before, and the pool players want to start, we start set at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. I'm like, dude, I'm in bed by 9:30. 10 is pushing it. And they just don't get it. They think I'm lying. It's just, and also, if I hear some guy slamming the cue ball on another table, 6 tables away.
You're a business owner.
I'm like, who's this banger, And if there's a disagreement or a drunk person, I'm out there looking, and I can't ever really dedicate my focus. That's why I like playing at somewhere else.
Well, let's give a shout out to Kyle and them over there at Rail Yard because it's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful room. They were, they seemed like everything was top shelf from what I saw, from what I've
Yeah.
heard, from the stream quality, watching at the house, and how are they as far as taking care of you guys as
Oh, they
players,
were
man?
world class. I mean, I've been to a lot of pool rooms, and everybody rolls out the red carpet, but Kyle went above and beyond, I thought, for both of us, and that was it was a very humbling experience. I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm sure you can appreciate that from a different perspective because not just as a pool player, but also, you are in his shoes every day.
Right, and I try to be as understanding as possible, and courteous and stuff. So it was a really good relationship, and we started talking a lot over there, just about life and business, and the things we endure, and he's got 40,000 square feet. He's got a huge place.
Yeah.
We're at 14,000 square feet, which is still obviously a big spot. So I can't even imagine. Like it's my problems times two.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
but yeah.
So Chris gives you all that you can handle. Basically, set number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Break wasn't necessarily any better than what it was in day 1, although you got that victory there. And then let's talk about the third set because you pull the Minnesota Fats, you go to the restroom, you wipe your face off a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and you say, we're going, or you don't got a choice because you agreed to it from the beginning.
Yeah.
We're going.
Yeah,
So
I'm going.
What the hell happened? Because I went to bed at around 8:04, and at 8:04 it's a different story because before in the first 2 days it was usually 8:04 the other way around. 8:04
Right.
Chris, and so I'm hopeful, but I'm in my late 30s and I was tired. And as much as I love my guy, and I love my guy, it was time. It was time to get a little bit of rest. And I get up again a couple hours later, Oscar, and I couldn't believe what I saw. It was 25:10, I think, is when I woke up. I mean, what the hell happened?
What's funny? I this afternoon I logged in again and I started watching because I'm not really sure, and I kind of went into the ultra gear mode where I just started hyper focusing. Um, the last time I hit that gear was when I played Cancel Him, giving him the 8-ball playing 10-ball in Vegas on a 4-inch diamond over at Griff's. I broke and ran in a race of 35, about 22 games in a race of 35. And I hadn't hit that gear in years. Now, this one, I didn't hit that ultra gear like that, like I did there. That was
I thought I seen something where I saw 2 things that stood out to me. Number 1, Chris said that he thought you broke and ran something like 15 out of 17, something like
15 to 17 out of 30 of the games that I won.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's still, it's a 50% clip. And number 2, I saw, and I haven't verified this, but I seen somewhere online where somebody had said that there was a stretch in that third set where for 2 hours Chris didn't shoot a ball. Anytime he got to the table, if he did get to the table, it was to kick or jump at a ball.
That's correct.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like one of those things where like I slowed down myself. I slowed down my heart rate. I slowed down everything, and I just started really giving full effort into where I struck on that cue ball. And I hadn't really done that. I'm kind of trying to play on feel. The break started working, and Chris didn't have a chance.
What did that do when you got that break going?
Oh, I felt invincible. So what happened was I kept scratching in the side. So I said,
consistently.
Screw it. Consistently. I was going straight in the drink. So I said, screw it. I'm going to hit the ball harder so that it jumps past the side. And it worked.
It's funny because this is how little I know about pool, right? Because
increased my velocity.
I'm texting Dez and I said, he's got to take a little bit off. He's putting too much. He's putting too much. So explain that logic to us at home, Oscar.
So what happens is that hop off that one ball. Once it strikes that one, that hop was too short. I need to try to extend that hop. So if I hit it, I'm jumping onto that first diamond, second diamond.
But why not focus more on hitting it more?
Because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's fair. I love the honesty, man. I love the honesty.
I couldn't do it. And it was driving me insane because now I'm trying to like almost decelerate just to hit it so carefully. And my timing my timing went I'm like putting inside English on the brake, and then that's when I blew a gasket and I just started tilting. I mean, it was torture, and all these emotions are going through. Like, I'm betting all this money, I'm betting a Mercedes Benz over here, and I can't get there. Like, I'm losing. This is sick. But you know what? At the end, once I started getting it dialed in, like, all that anxiety just dissipated, because I'm like, all right, I got this guy now. He's got no chance if I keep breaking like this. And I started running out better. Like, my confidence just went up. It was like I was practicing.
There's a lot of preparation lead into that event. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, getting seeing you and talking with you and those close to you. And every time I'm hitting you up, I'm hearing when you call someone at the pool room, they're at the pool room. There's a specific sound that comes through the phone every single time, and that was a lot going into it because it wasn't just the money involved. It was time, a
Right.
lot of time,
A
a
lot
lot
of
of
time.
time. Yeah, I mean, talk to us about that and how it was leading into the match.
Yeah, I mean, I started putting a lot of time in at the US Open. That was when I first started hitting the balls, like a lot of balls. And then um, probably right around the US Open, right after the US Open is when Chris and I made that game. And then, we just couldn't get the dates right. We tried November, and then December finally worked for us. But it was
There's
just,
a lot of stuff going on
yeah, there was a lot of stuff going
yeah,
on. Like, he went
yeah.
to the International Open and he wasn't going to. We were supposed to play that week. But it gave me more time to prepare and really, really just say, if I'm going to be betting this much money, I better get my SHIT together and really, if I lose, it's fine, but at least lose being prepared. Somewhat.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, don't half-ass it. Go out
Yeah.
there and give it the respect it deserves because it did
Mhm.
deserve respect.
Yeah,
And
and I kind of felt like, I felt confident I was winning. Um, but I'm like, man, this kid's he's not gonna be playing for funsies either. Like, he's gonna be training and getting ready to kick my ass. So,
which he
and I think,
was because Chris that was a different Chris than what I had seen. I mean, he showed a lot of fight and moxie in his own right throughout that match as well. Because I remember day two watching the match and you overcame a deficit again. You took a little bit. I think it was like a 2-game lead, right in that thick of it, right in that
Mhm.
like 18 range, somewhere around there. You took a lead, and I'm thinking, okay, well, day one is whenever the wheels kind of fell off at that point for him, but day two he showed that he was able to stand up on his own and fought back, man. Not that I didn't expect it, but it was just, he showed that he's got another level to him as well.
Yeah, yeah, he played a lot better than I anticipated. I mean, obviously, I didn't want to underestimate him. So that was like my number one goal, was to not underestimate him, because
Yeah.
there's a paddle for everyone's ass, and if you think that you can't lose to someone, that's when you start losing.
Francis in the chat saying you need more practice. I think Francis wants to play some one pocket, is what I'm hearing out
Yeah,
on post up stream because I love watching that guy play some one pocket. He's a good one pocket player.
yeah, he's got
Uh,
10-7.
is that what you give him? That's pretty sporty. I like Francis one pocket game.
Yeah.
So how did it feel, man? You at 25-10 and then just kept
Yeah, I mean, I
on, and
just kept my
you
foot on
finally
the gas.
crossed the finish line.
Yeah, I had a few mental lapses just because I was getting tired. I was hitting that wall. I felt like it was 5 a.m. I'm like, oh shit! Like, I felt my feet were hurting. Um, so I
Yeah, just hearing that, my life hurts hearing that.
yeah, my feet were
If
hurting.
I'm up at 5 a.m. like now, like it takes me like a good 2.5 weeks to recover if
Oh
I'm
yeah,
lucky. If
yeah,
I'm lucky, you
yeah,
know.
tough. And when I got to the hotel room right around 6:30, um, I took off my shoes and my feet were like this. They were swollen.
Un viejo, yeah.
Oh man, I was like, oh shit. So I just took a shower, relaxed, and slept 3 hours and got jumped on the next flight out.
What were you thinking though, man? You get there, and what were you
Uh
thinking?
you know what? There's something to be said. Is I think, as Hispanic men, we take a certain pride in providing for your family.
For
Um,
sure.
it's culturally almost pressured upon. Like, you see.
You have to. There's
You
no,
have
there's
there's
no,
no
there's no, there's no failure in it at all. There's
no,
never
there's just it's you bring money home or you're
whatever it
loser
takes.
or whatever it
Yep.
takes. You just got to
Yep.
bring money home. And when I
Yep.
bring money home, there's a certain satisfaction that I get from that because I know I'm creating security for my girls. So, and obviously Desiree. So that to me is very rewarding.
So did you take him to Starbucks when you got there? Oh, we might have lost Oscar unless the internet froze up on us. Let me know if you guys can still
And I
see me.
can I
Are
see
you
you?
still there?
I'm here.
I all right. Luckily, we didn't lose you.
Yeah,
So answer the question. Did you take Atlanta to
absolutely,
Starbucks this morning?
absolutely.
Good, man. Good.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, listen, it goes without saying, and I said it the other day on a post, but I'll say it again here. You know, I'm proud of you. I know. The crazy thing is, look, the week before the match, we were obviously in Dallas to do some Team USA Mosconi Cup stuff, and I've also started working with Lucasi and Q and Case, one of Oscar's main sponsor,
hmm
to do some social media stuff with them. And I said, well, and one of the guys, you know, Nick, who's a great guy, by the way, absolutely amazing guy, is out of the Dallas area. And I said, well, let's try to, you know, coordinate where we can all meet up in Dallas. And I didn't even think about the fact that you were playing Chris the following week, or I probably wouldn't have, you know, even brought that up. But to Oscar's credit, the ultimate professional showed up. We did a bunch of stuff out there, and we're going to be putting out a lot of content on those pages over the next coming weeks. But um, Oscar did everything and then some that he was asked of, and above and beyond. You know, every clinic, every, you know, interaction with fans, everything. You know, questions that were asked, photos that needed to be taken, things we had to, you know, film multiple times. He
yeah,
did everything and then some. And I'm not even shitting you, every single little window that he could find, he went to go hit balls. He went to
hmm
practice his break. He went to practice making a minute. And I remember a couple of times, like in spots in that week where I'm thinking, I am exhausted and it is like 11, 12 o'clock at night after a long day. I mean, a really long day. And there was Oscar with his case on. And in my head, I'm like, what is he doing? You know, what is he
hmm
doing? And hitting balls, man, giving it the respect it deserves and working your ass off. So I'm really happy for you. I'm obviously proud of you, and
Thank
I'm
you.
glad you got there. I'm glad you got there because I know you wanted it. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
So,
Yeah, I really do.
let's talk about give your sponsors a shout out. Let's talk Lucasi and the Qs and, you know, the confidence that was able to provide for you.
Yeah, I mean, Lucasi has been unbelievable. They tell me what do you want to play with. You know, usually when you sign on with a Q maker or a Q company, they tell you what to play with. This is a whole different relationship, and they're truly supportive. Like Jacqueline, one of the designers of, you know, Lucasi and, you know, one of the main gals there, she came out with her husband to go watch Savannah and I play over in Louisville. I mean, she does live out in Kentucky somewhere, like an hour and a half. She told me drive, but still, like she's off the clock and she goes out to support. You know what I mean? It just speaks volumes. And I'm just like so excited for all this prototype stuff to get finalized and dialed in. Um, I, for the first time since I left like, I was playing with carbon fiber for 5 years, and I felt like my shot making went up. I really did. I really felt like I got so much power out of the cue ball, and I was like, oh, this is great. But I went from being one of the top safety players in the world to one of the worst safety players in the world. I mean, that feedback, that whole middle ground just went out the window. And I lived with it for a while. And, you know, I guess I played a lot longer than I should have with it, but it is what it is. I gave it a true effort to try and get
Right.
used to it. I couldn't. But I mean, shout out to Lucasi, Brunswick Billiards, Q and K's products. They just say use whatever you want to make you play the best. And if we don't have it, we'll make you something like that. You know, we'll come out with something, a new edition, a new version of something. So like to have that support, I mean, it's everything, because you can't do this alone. I don't care how talented you are. Fedor Gorst cannot do this alone. Joshua Filler can't do it by himself. The expenses are just so overwhelming. it's just too expensive to make it worth it.
And he's not exaggerating. They're really great people. They're a great brand, and they're showing a lot of love and support. And recently signed Savannah Easton, which is awesome. And you obviously were a big part of that. We'll have some more stuff coming up, a little bit of behind the scenes to that whole agreement as well, which we're super happy about. We obviously know, we know that girl has got the brightest and highest ceiling that she wants to, whatever she wants to do in the pool world, because she's just an amazing talent.
I agree.
So before we move on to the Mosconi Cup preview, let's talk about the future for you as far as anything really. Tournaments, action, derby. What's on the horizon?
So we got the Amar Kang Memorial end of this month over at my place, Hard Times Billiards. You'll be there, I hope. I'm dragging your butt over there. Also Derby City. I do have some games lined up for Derby City. A couple.
Who are you looking to play? Oh, are you looking to play?
We'll finalize that deal. We'll finalize it. You'll be the first to know. I'll send you. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So there's a couple people that I still need to play. Carl Boys, he wants to play. 10,000 a set, 8, 9, and 10 ball. Balls in Carl's court. If he wants to play, let me know. We can up that to 20. Up it to 20.
Let's make it happen out in Louisville. I'm sure a lot of fans would love to see it. And look, it was as great as the set was. It was a sweat, man. It was a it didn't lack entertainment or excitement or the oohs and ahs and deep breaths and face palms and cheering and the whole 9 yards. It's everything you would hope to see out of a great movie. It had everything you would ever expect. And it took probably years off of all of our lives, but we're glad you got there.
It was worth it.
All right, let's talk pressure for a little bit because you mentioned pressure. Oh, by the way, which I don't know if we're allowed to say this yet. We'll get some news coming up. A lot of questions in the chat about Brunswick and Newcastle Q-Case. We got a lot of big announcements coming up, not just the Savannah Easton signing, not just Pro Line, other stuff coming out, but we got some other good stuff. So just make sure, keep your notifications on. Go follow the Lucasi page. Go follow the Q&Case, the Pure X page. Oscar Dominguez, pro pool player, go follow that as well because we're going to have the news all over the social medias coming up just as soon as we finalize just a few other details. And I guarantee you players will not want to miss it. So, but let's talk pressure for a little bit, Oscar, because obviously just played a lot of pressure, big gambling match. Compare it to the pressure of what those 5 guys in the UK are feeling tonight, right now, this moment.
Oh man, the night before is the worst. Anxiety.
What are you nervous about? What you got you finally got there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like so many emotions. It's like, it's almost like a relief that you made the team. At least for a guy like me, like a guy like Wolford. He's in a precarious position, and I've reached out to him. I told him to lean heavily on Tyler. Lean on him heavily.
Tyler's grown up a lot. Tyler's grown up a lot.
Yeah, I told him lean on him heavily. I mean, I know he can be a pain in the ass sometimes. I love Tyler to death. Sometimes I want to punch him because he just speaks his mind and he's got no filter. But he's a great kid.
He wants to get the best out of you. That's one thing I noticed about Tyler. He wants to see your absolute best effort, and he'll shoot you straight on how he thinks you ought to get there.
Absolutely. So, like a situation like Wolford, I suggest for him to turn off all social media, just disconnect.
Because it can be brutal. I mean, it can be real brutal, especially starting tomorrow. In the pool world, look, this is like our Super Bowl, right? By the way, it starts tomorrow, 12:30 Central Time, noon, or 12:30 Central Time, on the DAZN app. But look, every shot is under a microscope. Every decision is under a microscope. It's different sitting here versus what you went and did and playing out there.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Just obviously you're compounding jet lag and just the time zone change.
Well, he might have locked up on us again. Let me know if you guys can still see me again. Hopefully he'll refresh you and just say, "Yeah, you're back. You're back. You there?"
Yeah.
No, you're good.
Sorry. I don't know why it just shows disconnected for a second, but Yeah, basically, when you go out to the UK, you're fighting time zone difference, eating schedules different. The beds are different. They're always firm beds in Europe. I don't know what the obsession is with firm beds in Europe.
It's good for
And
your back, I bet. I'm guessing.
I hate that shit.
Really?
Like, I got a soft bed. I got like a Tempur-Pedic cloud memory stuff.
You got a little diva in you. I know.
I
Oh,
do
you
have
gotta
a
tell
little
me. I
deep.
know. But by the way, that bed is pretty comfortable because I laid in that guest bed and it's the same thing. And it's I sleep like I'm on a cloud. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Now you know what's up. So don't diss
Yeah,
it.
believe. Yeah, for sure.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be an immense amount of pressure. Ali Pally's. I've never played an Ali Pally. I only played all three Mosconi Cups in Vegas. So my goal is to play an Ali Pally. That's my next big target. So obviously, I want to make the Mosconi Cup next year, which is probably going to be in Vegas. But the following year, I would love to make it. Just
So,
because they're ruthless. I mean, even in Vegas, I'm walking down the casino and I say, "Hey, Oscar, you suck," and I said, "Thank you," and I walk away and I
I
just,
was there. I
yeah,
was
you were
there.
there,
Yeah,
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 you
yeah,
remember that,
yeah. And Oscar didn't even miss a beat. Walking to like just in this court in this hallway,
yeah.
And the guy says that, and Oscar just smiles, thanks, and just keeps walking. I'm over here like, what are we gonna do? What's going on? Didn't miss a beat.
Didn't miss
Didn't
a
miss a
beat. I
beat.
mean, it's just it's different, and you just can't let
Yeah,
all these guys get in your head because that's exactly what they're trying to do,
right,
and you
right.
just
But
have
how?
fun
But
with
it's
it.
it's a lot to fade. It's
It's
a
a
lot to
lot to
fade.
fake. But I
Yeah.
mean, there's so many tricks to kind of just calm yourself down when you're down in there and just, you know, focusing on the cue ball and staying at the table. Make sure your eyes aren't wandering, looking up and around. Just keep your eyes. You want to have the blinders on.
It's hard because you're like, you know, you're under a microscope, not just on national on worldwide television, but
Mhm.
like, you got I'd imagine you're very aware of the fact that every single person in that room has got all eyes on you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. That's brutal.
every single one. Like, there's nothing else that they're there to do. Nothing else that they're like. Like you're in a casino, whatever. You're there playing other things. You got like a baby with the lights on. No, 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 no. They're there to see you and what you're
Yeah.
about to do. That's rough.
It
You
is
know.
rough. It is rough. And,
Yeah.
like your muscles tighten up a little bit and, the stroke doesn't pull back all the way and you kind of go forward and it's difficult. It's going to be. I'm really curious to see how Federer handles it.
That's what I was going to
Federer's my
ask
brother.
you. That's what I was going to ask you because you're obviously really close to him, but
Hmm.
it's a different animal with those fans. What
Oh, they're going to go after him hard. They're going
really
to go
hard.
after. They're going to go after Federer harder than anyone else on the team
Yeah, yeah, I
because they
agree.
know how stoic he is and they know how serious he is. So they're going to use it as a challenge to try to break him. And I know that, and it's.
He knows that
I
too.
love him to death. Yeah, he knows that. I love him to
He
death, and I
does.
think he's gonna be just fine. But playing with the new cue, a little less deflection,
That's what I was.
uh,
You know what I
a little
mean?
inside English. You're expecting it for it to shift because the Q-Tech does shift a little bit. There is some deflection on the Q-Tech, but there's more feedback on a deflection, or excuse me, on a Q-Tech, more feedback. So now he's playing with this white carbon, which I picked up by the way, and it played phenomenal. I was really impressed with how well it played.
But it takes some
But it's
adjusting.
right. It's
In
a low
general,
deflection point.
in general,
Right.
let alone out there with
Yeah.
you know on that slick table, those bright lights, that the balls, the claw, the pocket size, and then you usher in 2,500 fans who are just looking. They can't wait to see you, pull the Bambi on the ice.
Oh,
You
I
know what I
mean,
mean?
if he overdraws the ball by half an inch, they're gonna be like,
Oh,
"Ooh." I'm like, "Would you shut up? I got perfect angle.
yeah.
What are you talking
You're like,
about?"
I'm dead nuts. What are you guys talking about?
I'm dead. And I was like, "What are you
Yeah,
talking about? Just because you can't make this ball?"
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an adjustment. Also, on the flip side, you got FSR going to Q Tech.
Shocking
From
news, by the
playing with
way. Well, I mean, shocking, yeah, shocking
Unreal.
for a lot of people. But not just the only one in Federer making an equipment change right before. Fran just barely got
Hmm.
announced today. Hopping with Q Tech, and that's just I look. Both guys have had monstrous, mountainous success, right? Like they've been the epitome of what professional pool is on tournament side, and in Federer's case on every side, really gambling and everything on earth. But to have consistency and success with one product, and then you switch right before the biggest event of the year is just it's a little ballsy. It's got me
It's very
it's got
ballsy.
me pretty surprised because I'm double shocked.
I mean, I have my theories on what should have been done, but it's not my place because it's not my business.
But I don't
And
think I've ever recall anyone switching. I mean, I'm sure I'm wrong, but just in the last, let's say, 8 or so years, I don't remember anybody making a switch right before. And like at least like to be. I mean, well, Federer was number I guess 2 on the American side, but he would have anyway. They're big names. You know what I mean? Like
right,
they're big names. They're not the number. They're not like a number 5 on each team. They're like a 1 or a 2.
right.
So it's there's a lot of expectations, a lot of pressure, and a lot of people are going to be rooting one way or the other for them for their successes, and depending on what side you're on, their failures as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talk to me about the teams for a second, Oscar, because the same team for Europe as last year. Obviously, a few changes on the American side with Earl and yourself not on the team. You got Wolford and Federer on the team. Give me your thoughts on what Team USA needs to have happen in order to. Let's just start with tomorrow, before I go for the overall. What needs to happen tomorrow? What are the goals for tomorrow when you're going out there, being on that team?
Um, I think my goal, if I'm coach, put me as a coach. Let's say I'm a coach, right? Is that like the coach mentality? Like,
Yeah,
what's
or I mean, just yeah, I guess like if you're out there giving that pep talk and maybe personally, you know what I mean? Like, what was your goal when you're walking out there on day one? I mean, you obviously can't win on one day, but you can put yourself in a pretty bad
yeah,
spot on one day.
right. I mean, I just felt like play position like I'm playing for myself. I mean, you deserve to be there. You earned your way there. Don't minimize yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. And it's easy for us to like tell Shane, like, come on, Shane, I need you to make this back cut with inside English. It's an
Yeah,
unfair request. You know what I mean?
right,
It's
right.
unfair of you to put that pressure. Now with Federer on the team, Shane is going to take a back seat. It's going to take kind of a little pressure off of him, I think,
Which I
because
feel like makes Shane
Europe ain't going to play
extremely
the same way.
dangerous. This is what I think. Call me crazy. This is when
Exactly.
I think that Shane can be ultra dangerous because Shane, for me, with expectations every year, and he's never really been that team guy. Let's just be real about it. He's very much been, he's very much been his own person. But I felt like for so many years, have like knowing you had to be number one really got with him here, and it was there. It was whenever everybody else stepped up, and especially with now you bring in Federer, who's like he's an alpha, he's a one, right? And you know that you can lean on him, and the guy you've seen him so many times over and over again, be at the top of the mountain playing on Sundays on a regular basis. So now Shane not having to have all that weight right here, I think that's when he can
His
be,
stroke's going to be loose. I mean, he's going to play. I think Shane's going to play phenomenal. Um, and the only thing that worries me is Wolford, because Wolford's going to feel a little bit overwhelmed. I think being surrounded by Skyler, Tyler, and Shane and Fedor, he's going to feel like he's the weakest player there. On paper, he is. Obviously, it is, right?
right,
That's no big deal. It is what it is.
right,
There has to
right.
be the weakest player on the team, but
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
having
let's just be, if you were ranking 1 through 5 on the Americans, that's probably where you'd put him at. Yeah.
right, and that's okay. I mean, he's a phenomenal player, and he earned a
Right.
spot. Totally cool. Um, if it's me, I'm going to be the weakest player there, or if it's
Right.
Reinhold, he's going to be the weakest player. So whoever it is in America is going to be the weakest player there. It's just the way it
What
is.
what philosophy would you be on then? Are you let's get his ass out there early, and he's gonna have to jump on in there regardless. Let's just get him on out there, get it out of the way.
I think coddling him is the worst thing you can do because he's going to sense that. Um,
Yeah.
let him go out there, let him sink or swim. Say, you know what? Go fuck it, go play. If I were Team USA, I put him the first singles. To be 100% honest with you, the way I look at it is, in my book, he's supposed to lose, but if he wins, if he happens to win and come through, it's going to crush Europe out the gate. And if he loses, it's
You're
okay.
absolutely right. I remember Tyler on that, that year that he beat Niels. I think it was like in 17 or 18, whatever it was. On paper he's supposed to lose that matchup, and he comes out there, he punches him right in the face, right, and completely sucked the spirit out of the whole team. With
Right.
that one win.
Yeah, and
But
that, to me, that's what I would do. If I'm Jeremy, that's what I do. I put Shane Wolford to first single, because you don't want to put him under the pressure of playing with another doubles partner. Yeah, now you don't want to coddle him. Just let him go out there, let him play that singles, because you have to play him a singles anyways. You're gonna have to eventually. Um,
do you get
now,
to like you do? Oh, never mind. I don't even know why I'm asking this. Everything has to be submitted prior to, so like you can't make a audible after the team event, right?
no,
So like you have to already have it in, because I'm saying the reason why I'm asking this is because look, if let's say USA wins the team event, even more of a reason why I want to put him out there, because now you got a 1-0 cushion. He's not going to put you in a 2-0
right?
hole, right? So
Yeah,
all you can do at worst case scenario, it's tied up 1-1. That's even more. I want to get him out there.
right. And let's say, for instance, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to predict it right now. Joshua Filler or Jason Shaw is going to be the first singles, because they want to make a statement. Okay. And let's say we bring out Shane Van Boening or Fedor and we lose.
Rip the fucking soul out of him. Well,
Exactly. It's more dangerous to let them lose on a singles than it is in
I
a double.
like that upside. I like that upside with sending them out there. I mean, it's a little bit dangerous, but like you said, there's like, I mean, with all
It's the
due
first day.
respect, it's yeah, you
It's
know
the
what I
first
mean?
day. I
Yeah,
mean, just this is
yeah,
the time to take the risk. It's not
yeah.
time to take that risk on day 4. Day
But
1
not
is
just
time
that,
to
but
take the
like these pivotal moves at the beginning really affect what you're able to do, whether it's going to handcuff you or not on the back end of this tournament. Because unlike everything else, it's very strategic, and this is where Jeremy 100% has the favor over Ralph. Now the difference is that he's got 5 veterans that know very well about lineups and other things in the Team Europe camp. But at the end of the day, the buck's going to stop with him. And Jeremy has had those pitfalls. Jeremy has made mistakes in his own right, when it comes to lineups, and taken some criticism,
Mm-hmm.
on his own shoulders as well. So, in all these choices you make right now on day 1 are 100% going to affect what's going to happen. We're going to wake up in the morning, everybody, and see what that lineup's looking like, and all of us can't wait. None of
Yeah,
us can wait.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch. I mean, even though obviously I'm not playing, I mean, I watch every ball of Mosconi. And are we still gonna do our lag bet?
Okay, for everybody who doesn't know, we got about 200. We got about 260 people watching. I'm sure we'll have more watching on the back end. Explain to everyone what our yearly lag bet is. It's a tradition at this point.
It's
It's like thanks.
tradition. It's
You
like
know,
Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's just like tamales for Christmas. It is what it is.
every year, this is what Oscar's done. This is what explain to people what our tradition lag bet is.
I take USA and you take Europe, and we bet 100 a lag,
We're a bunch
and
of
I get
sickos, and
I get robbed every time.
every year,
I'm peeling
Oscar.
off.
Yeah. What I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start getting some of these framed and putting them back here on my souvenir shelf that sits behind me here in the
Yeah,
office, because I can't wait. Yeah, no, it's look, it's such an important part, and we joke around about it, but it's pretty crucial, man. It's a race to 5. Everything
yeah, race
else,
time.
it gets extremely magnified, especially if you're in that hill and having the break. And let's be real, those Europeans, those 5 dudes over there, they all know how to break the balls really well. Every
Yeah,
single one of them.
absolutely. They do, and it's just it's going to be hand rack, right? Wood rack.
I don't know. I think it's going to be hand racked. It's
Has.
weird because that was one thing that when we were last year was hand racked. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure it's the same thing because so when we were out there training with them or hanging out with them while they were training and filming stuff, I was noticing a lot of the players were going back and forth between using the triangle and using the template.
Mm-hmm.
So however you want to look into that, however that's weighted. But let me ask you something on that note, because you were there on the tail end of it, and I was surprised because I didn't expect to see that kind of like discipline and like attention to drills and
Mm-hmm.
just the long days. Is that always how it is when you guys are leading up to the Mosconi Cup?
Yeah, with Johan it was, and Jeremy. Um, when I played in 2009 with Nick Varner, it was much more relaxed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
it was
that's
not nearly as intense.
it was intense, man. I couldn't believe it. Like I was just, I mean, thanks to Jeremy for letting us, go out there and everything. But I mean, I was like real aware of like, they got a job to do here. You know what I mean? Like they
Hmm.
got a real big job to do, and rhythm and it didn't matter if it was who it was. Jeremy was, hey, let's get serious. Hey, let's, you know, get back to being focused, making sure that he was getting in their ass when he needed to, just to kind of stay, make sure and keep your eye on the task and give it, just like you gave the respect to Chris, give it the respect it deserves,
Right.
because don't take it for granted and put in the effort ahead of time.
Definitely. Yeah, it's not surprising. I mean, just knowing the way Tyler trains. Tyler and I were training buddies when we lived out in Vegas, um, and we we took it serious. We would really get down and just really beat each other up for 8 to 12 hours straight. It was just a normal thing. I do it 4 or 5 times a week. That's what we do. And then play tournaments on the weekends. That's what it was. That was our routine. Um,
Yeah, even when I talk to Federer, I mean, obviously he's known for his work ethic now. I mean, he's a young kid, but they call him the robot for a reason. But even just talking to him, he's like, "Yeah, this is what I do when I'm getting ready for a tournament." And I didn't realize, because I just, for me, I just show up, right? I show up to an
right.
event. I show up to the U.S. Open. I show up to the Mosconi Cup, and you guys are just like on, right? You guys are
Yeah.
just
You don't know
ready to
what it
go.
takes to
And then
turn on that switch.
like I don't fucking got it. I did, but I didn't. Does that make sense? Like
Right.
I knew, but I really didn't know. You
Oh,
know,
it's vicious. It's
like just because this thing right here ain't on doesn't make a difference, because all of you guys are a bunch of sickos out there, just repetition over
oh
and
yeah.
over and over and over and over all
I've
day, every
I've
day.
always said
I was
people ask me,
exhausted, not even hitting balls, and I'm
yeah,
just I'm there
people tell me like, how do you get good at pool? And I said, you have to be a little insane. You have to have something
but a little
a
bit
little bit off in you
for
to
sure,
have almost that OCD or that um,
no
almost like
doubt.
an Asperger's tick that just makes you hyper focus because it's not a typical,
Yeah.
it's not a normal person's thing to do to practice for 12 hours a day.
Let's say Federer doesn't have. Let's say Federer goes 50-50. Can the Americans win the Mosconi Cup?
If Federer goes 50-50, yes. If Shane picks up. Because usually
You're talking about
Shane,
SVB.
huh? If
SVB.
SVB goes 50-50?
No. Is that the Shane you're
Yeah,
referring to?
yeah.
Because now we got
Vamboni.
two
Yeah,
Shanes on.
Vamboni.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
going to put a little bit
Yeah.
more stress on SVB. Skyler, I think, excels Mosconi Cup. I have a lot of confidence in Skyler. I think his confidence playing against a filler or an Alcady or FSR is
It's
it's
unreal,
unreal.
man. It's unreal,
He kind of
dude.
just
It's just crazy to
he
me.
excels under them.
Everybody else has that, like, the filler effect, the Shane effect is real.
Mm-hmm.
Is real. It's a real thing. I've seen great players like fall victim to that situation, whether they want to admit it or
Right,
not. You know, but like Sky's the only one that just seems to be completely immune to
right.
that shit. Like it don't bother him one way or the other. And if you look at that dude, this is the one thing, and this is why I thought Earl was horrible last year, because every time I've ever seen Sky out there in the Mosconi Cup, you if he's 4-1 down or 4-1 up, he looks the exact
Mm-hmm.
same. When I saw him out there playing that doubles with Earl, was the first time that I'd ever seen him with any kind of like stress or whatever. You know what I mean? Like just
It's hard to play with
he
Daryl.
just he looked different. I'll put it like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I love Earl and I have nothing but respect for everything he's done. But that setting isn't his strong point. He's an individual player. He's not a team player. Earl hogs a practice
And
table.
when you're like this,
Yeah.
it's
You need someone steady and someone emotionally, I guess, more stable.
So we're about to get out of here, but before I do, you mentioned the philosophy of, or the strategy rather, of sending Wolford out there. Who would you put as that first doubles if you were the
Oh,
coach of
I'm
Team
gonna come
USA?
out with the sledgehammer. I'm gonna put Fedor and Shane Van Boning. I'm
The
gonna
big guns.
just drop it on their forehead. I mean, just the hammer on the forehead. Just drop it like that.
Yeah, he's reverted him to a hammer.
I mean, you can see how emotional I get. I
Oh,
mean,
you're
I'm like,
good. Yeah.
I want to beat
Yeah.
the Euro
Yeah.
so bad too. I'm like, oh,
But I like how these guys come out sometimes and they'll transition from I'm just playing single and then I'm going right into a doubles as well.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you have a little bit of rhythm. But then we talked to a guy like Albin, right? And Albin was like, "Nah, I can't." And Albin's a world champion, multiple time world champion, has won almost every single major the sport has to offer. And even Albin, as decorated and as much of a amazing player as he is under those conditions and on that arena, he still says, "I can't do it. I can't go from back to back. I need like a good 40 minutes to decompress and like because it's so exhausting."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
you're saying go with Federer and Shane and
Federer,
send them out there
Shane,
swinging.
and then Wolford, and then probably Skyler and Tyler for the second doubles. I mean, I think that's super strong.
All right, give me your prediction, then I'll get you out of here. Give me on the overall.
So 5 matches. We got the teams, 2
I
doubles.
think it's four actually tomorrow, Oscar.
It's
I could be
4.
wrong.
Okay,
Maybe
4
maybe
matches.
you guys in the chat can let me know. But I thought it was four. I thought it was teams, singles, doubles, and then I
Doubles.
don't remember.
No,
I don't
it's
know. I don't know.
teams, doubles, singles,
I
doubles.
should probably know this before we go
Yeah.
on here. Maybe you guys in the chat can let me know if anybody else knows the answer to something I should know. Uh, uh, yeah, he's saying Ortiz is saying 4. It says teams, doubles, singles, doubles. So there you
Doubles,
go.
doubles. Yeah, that was right. So that's what I do. I think. Oh God, I got to favor Europe on the teams just because we beat them every time.
It's a
I,
weird, it's a
I
weird
feel like
game though.
I feel like we've been escaping. We've been escaping
Yeah.
that victory. We've been squeezing it out from the depths of hell. So I'm going to give it Europe. And if they do what I say and bring Federer and Shane, I say we win that.
It's 1-1.
Singles, 1-1. I'm going to go and, they're probably going to bring filler against Wolford. And they might lose.
Hey, but
And it's going to be
Wolford,
2-2.
listen, Wolford's beating some big names this year.
Exactly.
He's beaten Koping Chung a couple times, I think. And
Yeah.
you know what I
So,
mean? Like he's beating.
Wolford's going to be the underdog, but I feel like if he wins, we win the cup type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's going to switch the upsides
win the
overwhelming.
cup on day one, huh? Win the cup.
I think we're gonna break a leg of them, and we can just lean on them, and they'll tip over.
Here's what I think. I think that every year the Europeans have gone in thinking that, we're stealing here. You know what I mean? Like we'll say all the
Totally.
right things in the press conference, but like the locker room talk, right?
I speak to them all the time. They think they're absolutely dead stealing from the
Stealing.
USA. Yeah.
I don't think they think they're stealing anymore.
They're mistaken.
I don't think they feel like that anymore. And when you're used to front running, it's a different story than when you get punched back. And now with the addition of Federer, they know that dude don't mess around. He can beat any one of us, and he's beaten every one of us multiple times.
Oh yeah.
That they know how dangerous he is, and he's a different kind of animal, and it brings a whole different dynamic to that team. And I don't think they think they're stealing anymore.
Yeah. By the way, are we gonna bet 2.5 to 1? We have to take a little stab at that, right?
I mean, yeah, if the line is at 2.5, yeah. What's the game line? You think? There's a lot of people asking, "What's the game? What's the game?"
The game line's probably 7's a push, 8.
Okay, so
+3.
So you're saying +3, but the 3 is a push. Then is what you're saying? Yeah, but that means you got to win like 11. You got to win 11-6. Then
I see the line.
11-6 is rough. I think 2.5. 2.5. That means. Oh no. What is 2.5? So at 2.5, it's
9.
9. Yeah. So you're saying 3? Yeah.
I say 3 games. It's the right line. I think that's a gambling
3.
line.
So 8's a push then. 8's a push.
Yeah, that could be.
I think that's a little closer. Yeah, I think that's about pretty spot on. Not as a win, not 8 as a win, but 8 as a push. I like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little fair. Plus, you got to figure. I mean, home court's worth at least 1.5.
Right. Absolutely.
At a minimum, 1.5. So, Mosconi Cup starts tomorrow, you guys, 12:30 Central Time. If you're here in the U.S., I'm sure we're gonna get up early and be able to see the day one lineup. So I'm gonna try to go live in the morning, and we're gonna be talking about those day one matchups as well. Shout out to Fort Worth Billiards up top, my boy Franco down there at the bottom. We're gonna have a lot of great guests throughout the week, thanks to the Matchroom Media team. They're gonna help coordinate getting us some players, some coaches, all that good stuff. We'll try to get on some other great guests. Hopefully, we can have Oscar on after he loses a few lags in the next coming days, and we can talk about that as well. So it's gonna be it. The
Yeah.
Mosconi season is all year round, and we finally made it. Tomorrow is finally the day. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys for hanging out with us tonight. I know it's a little bit late, and Lord knows we needed to do a show for quite a while. But thanks to everyone for hanging out. We will see you guys tomorrow morning. And Oscar, again, man, massive congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
From me and from everybody. So we will see you guys soon. And yeah.